A very good Monday evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us tonight on Unscripted. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. The weather was a bit wild this weekend. A lot of on and off showers last night led to some rainbows, water spouts, and today definitely some cooler temperatures. But I'd say the highlight of the weather today is the fact that our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix, is back after being off for a week. So Joe, good to have you back.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a nice week off. I enjoyed it. Got out to Cedar, Polka Fest.
Nice.
Had fun out there. You know, it was fun. So yeah. Nice week off. But good to be back. And the weather, you know, a little fall. Like, as you mentioned, there were some rainbows and water spouts. Yeah. You've just been raving about that rainbow last night. It
was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was a double rainbow. And it was just, you could see every color so clearly. It was a chef's kiss rainbow night.
I'll always remember that one. Okay. Going ahead here, a nice week, still a little cool. We are going to eventually warm up toward Labor Day weekend once again. And there's one chance this week, looks like right in the middle of the week when we do have a decent shot. I think many of us will get some rain. So we'll take a look at that coming up a little later, Maya.
All right, thanks so much, Joe. Let's start with our top story tonight. Last night, multiple people were rescued off the Frankfort Lighthouse Pier in Benzie County. It's after first responders say weather conditions changed and wind kicked up waves over the pier, making it unsafe to walk back to shore. Our Allie Baxter spoke with the first responders about the rescue mission.
That lake can change in a heartbeat.
It can, and it did Sunday night, when weather conditions caused tall waves to crash over the length of the Frankfort Lighthouse Pier.
And then they see past the lighthouse back down the pier and they realize they're in trouble.
Leaving 4 people, including a 14-year-old girl, her dad, and 2 fishermen stuck at the end of it, 1,800 feet from shore.
They had an activity they were focused on, that was the fishermen, and the fish have been biting really well, so that was a good draw. And it's a beautiful area. I mean, but it changed fast.
As first responders on scene Sunday night explained, in the span of 20 minutes, the direction of the wind and waves changed.
The wave heights didn't change, but the amount of waves that were crashing over the pier and the amount of water that was actually coming over the top of and onto the surface of the pier increased dramatically.
Meaning no one on shore could make it to where the others were stranded. Lots of rescue scenarios were pitched, but ultimately, a crew from the U.S. Coast Guard Air Station Traverse City was called.
They could have waited, and it could have been even later at night. The weather could have gotten even worse. It was good that they called when they did.
The crew was able to navigate hovering around the lighthouse in the dark, while also dropping down to place those stranded in a basket to be lifted into the helicopter as waves crashed around them.
It was breaking up against the side of the lighthouse and crashing up maybe 30 feet high.
Ultimately, everyone stuck was rescued and flown to the Frankfort airport. The older fisherman, he still had his fishing pole with him as well.
I knew that he was gonna want to bring that with him, and I fell for him too, because those things are not very cheap. So I had him in the basket, and I was like, listen, I know that you want to keep this fishing pole, so if you can break this down for me, I can make it work.
Frankfort Beach does have a warning light system to indicate dangerous swimming conditions. First responders say that light system is also applicable for walking the pier. In Benzie County, Allie Baxter, UpNorthLive News.
And let's take a look at our question of the day related to Allie's story that you just saw there. Should people have to pay a fine for rescues on the Frankfort Pier or other landmarks? Scan the QR code on your screen right now. They'll take you to our website where you can vote. You can also head over to our Facebook page to leave a comment. We know that some different landmarks like Sleeping Bear Dunes, they do charge a fine for if you go, let's say, down the dune climb and you can't make it back up and you have to call to get rescued. They charge a fine that can potentially reach up to $3,000 for the rescue. Frankfort does not. So again, scan the QR code on your screen to vote on our question of the day. We'll take a look at those comments and the results at the end of the show. But switching gears now to our next story. One night can make a remarkable difference. That's something that you don't have to tell the Traverse City-based organization Charlie Golf One, rather. They know it after their gala last year not only raised an eye-opening amount of money, but also a lot of awareness about what our veterans need to find a landing spot. Our Mark Shillette reports.
You're going to be hard-pressed to find a veteran that asks for help. I mean, when they do ask for help, it's typically probably a couple weeks late or a year late or years late.
And as a 12-year Army veteran with a couple of combat tours, Liz Belt knows that while veterans and their families may not ask for help often, it's appreciated. Yes.
I would say that I definitely have an understanding from a couple different perspectives.
Returning home from service can be an adjustment on many levels for veterans and their families.
I think it's a lot to ask for people just to naturally fall back together and get on with life.
Reintegrating back to civilian life isn't always easy. Help may not be asked for, but it can make a real difference.
Charlie Golf 1 actually means standing by to assist. It's an old naval term.
Stand by and assist in a couple of different ways.
We're addressing veterans coming back here and being a safe landing spot for that.
A landing spot for veterans figuratively in terms of making connections with resources that are already in place.
Our goal is not really to offer the services, it's to make sure the veteran knows the services exist and be able to connect them with other organizations.
But also a landing spot literally. They have a vision of buying property and first building a community center and then housing for veterans getting back on track.
I'd be preaching to the choir if I said there's a housing issue in northern Michigan. So that's one of the things we want to address.
Big goals with big price tags.
Our trajectory is huge. You know, we had our first annual gala last year because we knew we couldn't make the money we wanted to make with a dance or a golf outing. So we did a big thing, raised a lot of money, and that kind of put us on a trajectory of where we want to be, which is to buy land this year.
Last year's Evening of Valor black tie event, the first of its kind, raised not only $150,000 in a single night, but also awareness of the need for what Charlie Golf 1 does. It's a night where service and sacrifice are honored.
I think that what the community should know that is they will not regret coming to the event. They will leave a different person than they showed up as. And I think every dime that they're willing to give us is going to go such a far way.
A far way in taking care of those who have served all of us, providing them and their families the support they've earned. It's a big thank you, and one that even Charlie Golf 1 can't do alone.
We need the community to stand by and assist us and assist the veterans. The cliche of it's going to take a village, it's going to take 20 villages, right? So we need everybody's support for what we're looking to do.
That was our Mark Gillette reporting, and in Mark's story you heard just right there from Holly Hack, the president of Charlie Golf 1, and Holly is joining us live now unscripted to talk a little more about the organization. Hi Holly, thanks so much for being here tonight.
Well, hello, thanks for having us on.
So can you give me a little bit of background information on how Charlie Golf 1 got started? What is the history of this organization?
So a few of us have served on different veterans or with veterans organizations for a few years. And one of our fellow now board members, Scott Herzberg, and I were having a conversation. He had worked with veterans for over 20 years at NMC, being their liaison. And we had a lot of conversations about veterans coming back. And we have so many organizations here in Northern Michigan that do wonderful things for veterans. But there's nothing that addresses one, housing. You know, so Charlie Golf 1 is definitely a three-legged, a stool, so to speak. You know, housing we know is an issue in Northern Michigan, but when a veteran comes back, they're kind of in that lost space. You know, where do I go? What do I do? And so as we had that conversation, there's so many parts of a veteran returning and reintegrating back into civilian life. There's connections with their families. You know, they come back a different person. Their family has been without them for a period of time as well. They're different people. And so Charlie Golf 1 came to be. And we're addressing housing. You know, that's our big audacious goal is to build a community center with housing. But also one to be able to connect with other veterans organizations, to be that catalyst when somebody comes back and says, hey, I'm new to the area, or I'm coming back to the area, and here's my list of needs. You know, often veterans don't ask, so it's somebody else within their realm that says, hey, they need help, and we're able to go to them and say, what can we do? How can we help you? You know, we say it's a hand up, not a handout.
Sure. So Charlie Golf 1 isn't necessarily providing services directly to veterans. It's more so you're kind of like the middleman of connecting veterans with the number of different resources in the community.
Well, and that is our goal. You know, we are right now really in the building phase. And when I say that, we're in the fundraising phase to do what we want to do, which this year would be to buy property. The next 12 months, we want to buy property. With the first goal to be to build a community center. So we have a space that will bring veterans together. It can be a space that's not necessarily a bar, which a lot of our veterans organizations here locally are a bar, and they do a fabulous job and offer different services, but really a community center. And our goal too, in reaching out and working with other veterans groups, which we're doing a lot of right now, would be if another veterans group in town needed a place to have a board meeting, they could use the community center. If a veteran needed to have an event or needed some services, they would come into that community center, and we could say, oh, you need counseling, here's where to get it. You need dental, here's where to get it. Be kind of that catalyst in the middle, but really directing out. Our intention is not really to offer services directly. It would be more a place to direct them, and then after the community center's built, to build housing around that community center so we can offer that service.
And you said the goal is in the next 12 months to hopefully find this property where you can build a community center and then eventually housing. Are you already looking at specific property, or are you focusing just right now on fundraising and then you'll look towards the more specific location?
We do have a few properties we've pinpointed. One of our major things with our board is being in a place where we are poised to do this. So making sure our organization is ready for that next step, and being fiscally responsible in that. Our goal would be that we buy the property in cash, that we do not have to take out a mortgage for the property. So setting the organization up on the right footing. But within 12 months, our goal is to have that property purchased and be putting a shovel in the ground by next year this time.
And it sounds like last year your first gala fundraising event was a big success. I heard Mark mention in his story that it raised over $150,000. So do you have a goal for this year's event? And can you also give us a little more information on when that's happening, who can attend, all of that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. So our website is charliegolf1.org, which has all of our information on it. We're hoping to raise over $250,000 this year. Which would put us in that range to buy the property, some of the properties we're looking at. And again, we're not looking at small parcels, we're looking at acreage property. Because one, with the community center, which we would love to be kind of the hub of the community, we also want to have walking trails and biking paths and volleyball courts, and to make it a true community. So it's an acreage parcel we're looking at. And of course, proximity to other services that veterans. So we don't necessarily want it to be out of the major area where things like the vet center and things like that are located. So proximity to other locations for veterans are very important. The gala that's coming up is on October 4th, so 10/4. Okay. It is, like you said, our second annual. We're hoping to raise over $250,000. It is a black tie gala. And we started doing that because there wasn't a lot of galas anymore. It's a black tie gala. We also do the Pledge of Allegiance. We have the color guard that comes in. We have an amazing auction. We have both a live auction and a silent auction. Live band with dancing as well. I can tell you, for anybody that was there last year, the talk of the town was about the speakers that we had at the event. Our speakers this year are going to blow your mind. I guarantee you will leave a different person walking out of that event than when you walked in. The stories that you're going to hear, it will definitely shed a new light on what your experience is, especially if you don't have direct contact with a veteran and haven't lived that mile in their shoes. You will definitely come out with a new understanding, but it's also going to be a great time. So for those people that want to come out to a wonderful time for a great cause, the gala on October 4th will be an amazing event.
And we do have more information on that gala over on our website, UpNorthLive.com, if you are interested in attending. Holly, thank you so much for coming on Unscripted tonight and sharing with us a little more about what Charlie Golf One is all about in the upcoming gala event as well. We really appreciate your time, but we do need to take a quick commercial break now. Coming up next, our Chief Meteorologist Joe Charlevoix will come back into the conversation and give us more details on the upcoming forecast for your work week. Straight ahead.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Well, it's definitely feeling a little more fall-like out there tonight. Kind of one of those nights you want to grab a sweater or a light jacket just in case, because temperatures are in the 60s and just not your typical end of August evening. But great sleeping conditions tonight. We know that for sure. So, Joe, is tomorrow going to be another cooler day?
Yeah, we're going to kind of stay in this. I mean, briefly warm up Wednesday to around 70 for the rest of the week. But a week from now, as we get toward Labor Day, we'll be back, normal again.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, definitely cool down. We had a little taste of fall. We had some lake effect rain. Anytime you use lake effect, we're getting closer. We had rainbows and water spouts, and there's one right there. Take a look at that, Maya. Isn't that cool? They look scary. They look dangerous. And yeah, you don't want to be around them in a boat or anything like that, but they're pretty harmless for the most part. This was south of Drummond Island. Linda Story sent this in. This is around 10 o'clock yesterday. And here's another one. This was just west of the Detour Reef Lighthouse in the UP. Cindy was visiting from Tucson, Arizona, and captured that one out there in the distance. That's a well-defined water spout. You can see that right there. Looks like there's actually two of them there, and then you can see the heavy rain in the background. So, Cindy, thanks for that. Three big things. Again, a little cooler than average, 60s this week, but comfortable. The one main time for rain this week, there is rain. It's a cold front that will drop right out of northern Canada where it is tonight. That's later Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and then dry and warmer weather on the way as we inch closer to Labor Day. Here's the weather map tonight. High pressure over Iowa, well northeast up in Quebec, low pressure. That's much cooler air mass spinning around behind that. Here are the current temperatures now as we inch in on 7 o'clock. Upper 50s to mid 60s currently, and these high temperatures earlier today were a good 5 to 15 degrees below normal. This is the departure from normal for this time of the year. Take a look though at the jet stream. You can see where Traverse City is, the Great Lakes, Chicago. We have this big trough overhead. But later next week, or later this week rather, into next weekend, that colder air departs, and then we kind of warm back up again. So we're looking at highs back into the 70s. Not a lot happening, just a couple stray showers as we look around the Midwest. By the way, I'm going to jump up into north. You see that little blue area up near western Lake Superior? Right here. This is parts of Minnesota around Hibbing. That's a frost advisory tonight. I mean, it's only late August. They could deal with a little bit of frost. A quick look at our radar or satellite forecast, stormcast. Dry tomorrow, maybe a stray lake effect shower. Then here's that rain right there. Wednesday night into Thursday, there's the chance for some thunderstorms too. And then most of that will be gone by midday on Thursday, and then quiet weather. And by the way, take a look at Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Look at that nice stretch of weather. Dry sunshine, it looks pretty good as we head toward Labor Day, Maya.
All right, Joe, thank you so much for that weather update. Let's take another quick break, but sports is next. Don't go anywhere just yet. You're watching Up North Live Unscripted at 6:30. We have reached game week for high school football with teams kicking off either this Thursday or Friday. Traverse City Central will be on the road to start the season on Thursday, but before they head downstate for game one, head coach Eric Sugars and a few of the seniors shared their thoughts on the season with sports director Harrison Beebe.
What's the story behind Kaizen?
Kaizen, our leadership council picked that in the spring. And those guys talked about the idea of continuous improvement, like the incremental changes that you make and you improve every single day. And if you do that day after day after day, it's gonna pile up. It's like stacking wins, you know. We want to stack wins, stack days, stack moments, and keep getting better.
4-hour bus ride to Novi to start the year. I mean, you've done bus trips to start the season before. Didn't you play at Big House a couple years ago?
Yeah, we played at Big House. We played at Plymouth. You know, we're used to going long trips for week one, you know, and our kids are accustomed to doing it. Our kids are accustomed to travel, and that's what we do. We're going to Novi, you know, and then we're going to Jackson. So back-to-back weeks, we're on long road trips. So it's like, you know, business trips, we'll stop and do walkthroughs, and we'll eat when we have to. And, you know, then come game time, we got to get ready to play.
Tell me about this year's group. What do you like most? What do you think is the key group to keep an eye on?
We talk about 20 seniors, you know, that a lot of them played a lot of football last year, you know, and they've improved and they've gotten better, and they want to raise the standard. You know, we talk about the standard and expectations here. They haven't been happy with the way the last year went, but that's in the past, you know. So everything they've done off-season wise, I've been just impressed with.
I think we're really close. I'd say closer than any group we've probably had in a long time. We all love to hang out. We love each other. We have a good bond where we can just trust each other and make the right decision. Yeah, just to know there is that capability. If we put all the details together, just be consistent. I think we could be great this year.
Yeah, I mean, really just enjoy the moment, and you can't take it for granted because any second you could get injured. Any second one of your players could get hurt. So it's really just like take each play like it's your last. I mean, there's not much you can do except just go 100% each time.
It's definitely different, you know, knowing this is your final year of high school ball. It's exciting and scary, but I'd say mainly more exciting because now you get to be the guy that everyone looks up to and you get to lead by example.
And again, Traverse City Central starting their season downstate on Thursday night. All right, that'll do it for sports. We're going to take one final commercial break, but on the other side of that break, we'll check out the live results for our question of the day and read some of your comments. Stay with us.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Taking a final look at our question of the day, should people have to pay a fine for rescues on the Frankfort Pier or other landmarks? This comes after last night multiple people were rescued off the Frankfort Lighthouse Pier in Benzie County. 85% voting yes, 15% no. Over on Facebook, we have quite a few comments. Miles says, during bad weather, it's only fair to make the ones who ignore the danger pay. Dusty has a similar comment. If it's their own doing and they ignore the weather forecast and obvious signs of danger from the lake's waves, absolutely. Robin says it depends on the situation. You can join the conversation over on our Facebook page, Up North Live. We are all out of time here on Unscripted, but thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you back here at 11 o'clock tonight.